My name is Carolyn. I'm sitting at the dining table, the air thick with tension. In front of me are my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, and my brother, Ryan. The folders I've placed before them are like bombs waiting to explode, filled with the evidence of a lifetime of imbalance and betrayal. My father, Mr. Thompson, is a successful real estate developer. He's always been cold and calculating, more concerned with business and status than with his family. My mother, Mrs. Thompson, is a socialite who spends her days at the country club. She's all about appearances and has always favored Ryan. Ryan, 5 years younger than me, has been the golden child since birth. I remember the night when it all started to unravel. The house smelled of cinnamon and baked ham, a typical holiday aroma that usually promised warmth. I was walking down the hall to my guest room when I noticed the study door slightly ajar. My father's voice, low but firm, seeped through the crack. "Carolyn, she's a waste of space. She'll never amount to anything." For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. Then Ryan's hesitant reply came, "Dad, maybe she's just trying her best." I stood there, frozen, as if my feet were glued to the floor. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. From my angle, I could see my mother's silhouette at the window. She turned her head and met my eyes. Instead of shock or guilt, she gave me that same, cold smile, as if she'd been waiting for me to find out. That smile was like a dagger to my heart. It confirmed all my worst fears. I stepped back into the shadows, and a flood of memories came rushing back. When I was in high school, I qualified for a national science competition. I was so excited, thinking my parents would be proud. But Ryan got into a school play that same week, and my parents canceled their plans to support me at the competition. "Ryan needs us more right now, Carolyn. You're a big girl, you can handle it on your own," my mother said, her voice as cold as ice. Then there was my grandmother, Miss Johnson. She was the only one who ever believed in me. She lived in a cute little cottage on the outskirts of town. The house smelled of lavender and old newspapers. On weekends, she would sit me down at the kitchen table and teach me about stocks, bonds, and savings. "Financial independence is the key to a free life," she'd say, her eyes full of wisdom. While Ryan thought these lessons were boring and often skipped them, I absorbed every word. When she passed away during my senior year of high school, she left me $20,000 for my education. I saw the quick, envious glances my parents exchanged. Later, my mother said, "Your grandmother was always too soft on you. This money will just give you ideas above your station." That inheritance became my ticket to freedom. I got into Harvard, while Ryan chose Yale. My parents paid for Ryan's tuition, housing, and gave him a generous allowance. I, on the other hand, had to stretch my grandmother's money, along with scholarships and part-time jobs at the campus library. I learned to count every penny, not out of poverty, but out of pride. After graduation, I moved to Chicago to work for a financial firm. I rented a small apartment in the city, and every piece of furniture I bought second-hand was a symbol of my independence. I built my savings slowly but surely, and my career took off. But I still felt an obligation to my family. My father said the real estate business was going through a rough patch, and I started wiring $600 back home every month. I thought it was my duty, a way to show that I still cared about the family. Even after the business recovered, the transfers continued. Then came Thanksgiving. I was so excited to tell my family that my boyfriend, Jake, had proposed. But as I was about to speak, Ryan started talking about his new investment idea. My father leaned forward, his eyes bright with interest, and started asking Ryan questions about the market. My mother placed her hand on Ryan's and smiled proudly. When I tried to mention my engagement again, my mother gave me that same dismissive smile. "That's nice, Carolyn, but let's focus on Ryan's important news." My news vanished like smoke in the air. Later that night, as the house was quiet, I walked past the study. The door was open a crack again, and I heard my father say, "The entire estate, the business, everything will go to Ryan. Carolyn doesn't need any of it." I held my breath, my heart breaking. My mother saw me and smiled, that same cold, knowing smile. I couldn't sleep that night. I sat in my guest room with my laptop, and I started going through my records. I found that I had sent $50,400 over the past 7 years. And then, I saw it. $10,000 had been taken from my grandmother's inheritance, used to fund Ryan's failed business venture. No one had asked me, and no one had repaid me. I also discovered loan documents with my name on them. I remembered signing a bunch of papers during a family Christmas visit, but I had no idea they were loan guarantees for my father's business. By the time dawn broke, I had typed out a 7-page document that detailed all the money I had given, the opportunities one had missed, and the sacrifices I had made. I brewed a pot of coffee and set 4 mugs on the table. When my father walked in, he saw the folders and knew something was wrong. "Read them," I said, my voice steady. My father flipped through the pages, his jaw tightening. "This is ridiculous. Business is complicated, and families help each other," he said. "Help doesn't involve stealing and forgery," I replied, my tone as cold as steel. My mother reached for her coffee, her hand trembling. "Carolyn, you're overreacting. We've always supported you," she said. I looked at her, my eyes filled with anger and hurt. "You've always supported Ryan. My education was paid for by scholarships and my own hard work. You've been using me, and I'm done." Ryan sat there, silent at first. Then he said, "Carolyn, you've misunderstood. Dad didn't mean it like that." I looked at him directly. "Did I misunderstand when I was working late at the library while you got a new car? Did I misunderstand when I paid my own way through Harvard while you had everything handed to you at Yale? And what about the $10,000 that was taken from my inheritance for your failed business?" Color drained from his face. He turned to our parents, his voice rising. "Is this true? You took her money?" My mother started to speak, but my father's glare silenced her. Ryan's shoulders slumped, and I could see the realization dawn on his face. After that confrontation, I knew I had to leave. I went back to my room and packed my bags. I canceled all the authorizations for the family accounts and placed freezes on my credit reports. My firm's legal department promised to look into the fraudulent loan guarantees. Before I left, I took out the brass key to my grandmother's cottage. It no longer opened the door, but it was a symbol of safety and love. I stopped at a shop near the airport and had the word "boundaries" engraved on it. As I boarded the plane to New York, where a new job awaited, the key felt warm in my palm. It was my final inheritance, a reminder that I had the power to choose the doors I opened. Months passed. My mother sent me an email full of sentiment, trying to make me feel guilty. I replied with a short message, saying that I was fine and that future communication should be strictly about documentation. My father reached out, trying to use my name to boost his business credibility. I redirected his inquiries to my firm's general line. Ryan called me, his voice hesitant. He admitted that he had taken advantage of our parents' support without thinking about where it came from. "I thought I needed it, but I realize now that I was just hiding behind their support," he said. In New York, I established a scholarship in my grandmother's name. I wanted to give other young women the financial knowledge that she had given me. Applications poured in, and each one reminded me that my grandmother's legacy was more than just money. Now, as I sit by the Hudson River, the brass key in my hand, I know that my worth is not determined by anyone else. I've learned that family is about those who see your value and support you without asking for anything in return. I'm no longer the girl who was overlooked and undervalued. I'm Carolyn, and I'm in control of my own life.